Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 2.2 ES diesel. As you can see here, this is the newer shaped Civic, 12 plate onwards model, but this one's just done 27,000 miles and is in absolutely beautiful condition. Just come around the car, front of the car for you first. The lights and lenses, you can see they're completely clear and intact. There's no cracks or condensation there at all. Front of the car is very clean, with only the odd, very minor stone chip. But I'm talking, you know, you have to look very hard indeed to find them. So come down the near side of the car first, and it is absolutely mirror smooth on those panels. There's no indentations at all, car parking dinks or anything. And it's got lovely tyres on the car. It's I think it was, I'll do them one by one, but Bridgestone tyre on this one here. Loads of tread. I mean, perhaps I think the least amount of tread on any of the tyres is 6.2 millimeters, so it's got loads there. I mean, so it comes to the back tyre here. That's a Firestone, or Bridgestone by any other name. But again, tons of tread in it. Come around the back of the car, all very clean and tidy. Around to the off side of the car, which, as with the near side, is like a mirror in the panels. Again, no indentations at all there. Offside rear tyre, it's a Michelin on the side. Obviously it's got a puncture or something at some stage, but still a very nice brand tyre. And finally, Bridgestone on the front there to match the other one. But it really is a very clean car. Coming to the boot area, as you probably already know, massive boots on these Civics. They are absolutely colossal. 60/40 fold on the rear seats there, and the back of the car has been kept in beautiful condition as well. It really has. What's nice to see, someone's invested in a spare wheel kit for the car, because obviously they normally don't come with it. They come with the inflation kit, and that's quite an expensive option actually. Coming to the back of the car, this shows seats in a vertical position, which forms part of this absolutely ingenious magic seat affair. So if you've got anything sort of tall you want to put into the car, you fit them in the back there, because you get all that extra room up to the ceiling of the car. But all the carpeted area is in fantastic condition as well. Just drop them down, it's so simple. Just pull the lever up and drop it down. Easy with two hands and trying to balance the phone, of course. So with the seats down, you can just see you've got absolutely huge amounts of leg room in these Civics. And bear in mind that front seat is set for me. I'm over 6 foot tall, so that's probably the worst it's going to be in the back. And the seats are in excellent condition back there. So front passenger door card, all the door cards are in really fantastic condition, including all the little recesses. Again, footwell area is very clean and tidy. And front passenger seat has been given minimal use. Coming to the front now, driver's door card again in lovely condition. It's just all been kept absolutely beautifully. So I sat inside the car now, engine's running through this section so you can see the dashboard illuminated. Dashboard, to all intents and purposes, looks absolutely brand new. It's in just gorgeous condition in here as well. Everything working exactly as it should. But as I said, it's just been kept really fabulously. If I pan back here, this is basically the view you get as a driver, and that's where you should set your driving position, so the steering wheel is slap bang between the top of the rev counter and the speedo there. But it's a fantastic view of, you know, by far and away the best dashboard in its class. But that's just my opinion, of course. And then across down there to you, hopefully you can see 27,441 miles, and there are no warning lights at all displayed on the car. But it's all in just fabulous condition in here. The video just cannot do it justice, really. Just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. So finally, just to come under this absolutely beautifully presented engine bay by Honda. They do a really fantastic job of this kind of thing. Obviously cam chain driven engines, there's no cam belts on these cars to worry about, so they're designed to last the life of the engine as well. But it is in beautiful condition under here as well. More of which in the following road test video. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 2.2 ES diesel. This particular car is registered YD12KPJ and mileage at the start of the road test is 27,435 miles. The reason for doing these videos is essentially so anyone that's actually looking at this car online in an advert, actually gets to see the very car in operation. We feel it's very important for customers to be able to do this with the cars we sell, because it gives us opportunity to obviously show you the car, but more importantly let you know of any issues that might be on the car before you come to us. It's rare, but in cases we've heard it from many customers who've gone to see other cars, travelled hours to go and see them, only to find out there's a fundamental problem with the car which they clearly should have been told about, and it can be hugely frustrating, and we've been on the receiving end ourselves, so we know exactly what it's like. So coming to the car itself, as you'll know from the advert, I mean, it's been just a sensationally well looked after car with what is an incredibly low mileage. All the servicing done by Honda. The engine starts absolutely instantly, as the DTEC engines always seem to do. Engine settles to completely smooth, even idle. There's no fluctuations at all. No warning lights on the dashboard either relating to the engine or any other part of the vehicle. And temperature gauge is running at a third, and the car's been running for well over an hour now, and that's exactly where the temperature gauge should be on a Honda car. The engines are absolutely fabulous units. They're very, very, very smooth and refined, particularly the 2.2s, because they actually have the internal balancer shafts, which makes them so smooth in operation. Very, very quiet, and of course hugely economical. 60 to the gallon's very easy to achieve actually. It's only if you're leaden footed or you're holding a gear too long that you're going to sort of dip into the 50s really. Engine then feeds through into clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car absolutely perfect, smooth, silent in operation, and the bite point is exactly where it should be. Gearbox on the vehicle, which of course is 6 speeds, is another fantastic gearbox from Honda. As I say in all the videos with the Honda gearboxes, Honda are renowned for their engines, but also for their gearboxes, and for rightly so as well, because they actually care. They know it's a primary control. It's it's the one you're going to be using more than anything else apart from the steering, and it's got to feel good. So they give it a really lovely mechanical feel, very solid, precise, accurate. Pardon me. It feels just so well engineered, and that's very hard to achieve actually, because the gear lever here is joined to the gearbox at the front by cables now, as most cars are. But that also means that some gearboxes can feel very vague, lifeless at best, whereas this actually adds to the driving experience of the car. It's a fantastic gearbox, and I can't feel anywhere in the gear linkage at all. Steering of the car tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all come back to the steering wheel of the car. All feels lovely and tight and taut as it did when it was new. But it's a lovely power steering setup as well. Very, very accurate, very nicely weighted, and matches the chassis perfectly. And the chassis is such a class act. Previous generation Civic, everyone loved the handling, the agility of the car, but a few people complained that the ride was a bit too harsh, particularly around town. So Honda worked very hard on the suspension to make it ride more smoothly over the more broken surfaces, and they've done an absolutely fantastic job, really have. It's just a wonderfully comfortable car, but it's still very agile, very precise in its handling. It's just good fun to drive, but comfortable at the same time. It's as simple as that. And what I'm looking for in road test is basically any signs of any kind of mechanical wear underneath the vehicle. So when you hit a bump, you'll hear it hitting the bump, of course, but what you shouldn't get is any kind of secondary noises, any chatterings or knocking, and there's nothing on the car at all. Brakes on the car, I'm just going to get myself in a nice straight line and give it a bit of a shove. Really good brake pedal on the vehicle. What I'm looking for, especially on that initial bite to the brakes? Does the car go down straight and true rather than pulling violently left or right? And is there any sort of vibrations or pulsing through the brake pedal? And there's nothing at all. They're exactly as they should be. Looking around inside the car, I mean, again, I always say on these, particularly this generation Civic, I mean, the build quality, which you can't really get across on the video, is extraordinary. They are beautifully made cars. If you've not driven one, I mean, they just feel solid when you drive them. Every switch, every button you press, there's not a hint of a creak or groan from the interior. And it's true real world build quality this many years down the line. But it also happens to be a lovely place to sit and drive a car. This dashboard I think is fantastic. It's quite conventional here. Radio, dead simple, easy to operate, no silly sub menus to go into. Air conditioning, of course, you've got dual zone side to side on there, and it's absolutely ice cold air coming out of the air conditioning system, by the way. And then my favourite part, this lovely sweeping 2-tier dashboard. High up on the upper tier, you've got all the information you want. So you've got radio readout, information display up there on the left, and a little pod, and then the speedo there, which is just brilliant. It's absolute genius. It just basically means you can look at the road and the cars ahead and junctions and pedestrians and goodness knows what else, but at the corner of your eye clearly see the speed you're driving at without having to take your eyes off the road for a second. Absolutely brilliant. Down below that, more conventional pod of 3 dials with the big dominating rev counter flanked by the fuel gauge and temperature gauge. Auto lights, auto wipers, multifunction steering wheel, everything working exactly as it should. Just checking the cruise control function, all perfect. It really is a brilliant car, because I always think that, when you're buying a family car, first and foremost you want something safe and reliable. Well, they're certainly that. They're the most reliable car in its class, and they're certainly very safe. Is it practical? Yeah, absolutely. It's got huge amount of space, even for 5 adults, with plenty of leg room and a massive boot in the back as well. And then you've got the clever sort of seating facility as well. But it's also a lovely car to drive. It really is. They're fabulous vehicles in every way. You can see why they're just so sought after. So, as I said at the start of the video, the point of the videos is to pick up on any issues, no matter how small they may be. There's nothing at all to report back on this car. It drives absolutely superbly. I've got no excuses. Both myself and my business partner Tony both used to work for the local Bristol Honda dealership, so we know these cars intimately. So if there was a problem with it or something wasn't quite right, we would know about it, and there's nothing on this car at all. Having said that, as always, please don't hesitate to call us with any questions you might have about this car.